Hi, I'm Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. Take a look at this gorgeous quilt behind me. Isn't this so pretty? I love this fabric. Every once in a while a fabric comes out that I kind of fall in love with, and this is one of those. This fabric is called Front Porch, and it's by Jan Paddock for Moda, and I just adore it. I just think it's gorgeous. And I thought it was perfect for this lattice block. This is the block we're talking about right here. It's just a charm pack block that's cut on the diagonal with a lattice piece put in. Simple, easy. Let me show you how to do that. So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is you're going to need 4 charm packs or 1 layer cake, and you're going to need about 1.5 yards of background fabric or a honey bun. The honey buns, we're using 1.5 inch strips here, so the honey bun works, or you can cut your own strips out of 1.5 yards of fabric. The border is about 4 inches of fabric, or about 4 inches wide, and the whole quilt altogether makes a quilt that is about 65 by 75, somewhere in that general area. So it makes a good size quilt. So to make this block, what we're going to do is we're going to take our charm pack squares, just like this, just one of them, I only need one, and we're going to cut this on the diagonal. Now, one of the things that causes people to shy away from this block is that it's hard to line up from side to side, but I have a great trick for you. So I've cut this on the diagonal, and now we're going to set these aside, and what you're going to have to, the measurements you're going to have to remember is your diagonal measurement plus 1. So this diagonal measurement is 7 inches. So your strip is going to be 8 inches. Now I've already cut all my 1.5 inch strips right here, and you know you can, so then you need to cut them into 8-inch blocks, and you can stack them up, or you can fold them over so that you are cutting, you know, making less cuts and getting more cuts out of them, and I like to do that. So I'm going to stack up a couple of my strips here. And then I'm going to move these out of the way because we don't want any accidents. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off my salvages right here. And then I'm going to count over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to make that cut right there. So that gives me the 8-inch strip for the center of my block. Now here's a trick so that you know how to line them up. When I do this, I fold them in half so the points go right together like that, and I bring them over here to the iron, and I'm just going to touch that inside curve so it makes a little bitty crease right there. You can see that little crease, and I'm going to do that on both pieces. And you're going to put right sides together when you do this. Make sure that your little triangles are folded right sides together, and I'll show you why. So now we're going to take our 8-inch piece, and we are also going to fold that right in half. And these need to be pretty exact. So we're going to fold this right in half, and we're going to lay it face down so that it peeks up like that. Now where that peeks up, you are also going to lay your triangle. So the peak lays right on the peak, and that is just another way of helping you line them up. You're going to grab those two where they match up exactly, put a pin in there, because if these get off, the whole block gets wonky. So you want it to be nice and straight. And then we're going to take this over to the sewing machine and sew this down just 1/4 inch. So here we are. We're just going to sew this straight down the edge. Then we're going to take our pin out, and we're going to line up the other side. We're just going to lay this back like this, line up the other side on the, make sure that the little humps match up. And then we're going to put our pin in there, and we're going to sew this one 1/4 inch as well. And this really ensures that your blocks will be nice and straight. Lattice block is a really easy block to do, but sometimes it can get off a little bit, and it's frustrating for people. So I'm going to take my pin out, make sure that's lined up right on there. Sew that down. All right, and now we're ready to press. So here's how our block looks just as it is before we do our ironing and our pressing. We're going to come over here. We're going to press to the dark side. So we're going to lay that out. And so now our block, it looks like this, and we need to cut these ends off. So how I do that is I'm going to lay this right in half, match up my peaks and my edges, and I'm going to iron a little. I'm just going to iron this right in half so it lays down just gently. Then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to use the edge of my triangle as my measuring edge and just zip this end off here, and I'm going to put this over here and zip this end off here, and then we're going to open this up and we're going to have a nice little square. Let me iron this out. Just like that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to lay your quilt out. You're going to lay it, you know, you're going to set all your squares out. And when you do that, you want to make sure that you're matching color to color and white to white. So it's going to have this zigzag look to it like this. And then as we come down here, we stick with the white to white and the color to color to make sure that they just line up perfectly this way. And that will give you your lattice look. Now when you go to sew these together, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the part right up here by the white part, you want to make sure this is the part that lines up. So you're just going to look ever so carefully, make sure those pieces are right together, and you're going to put a little pin in there, and then you're going to make sure these corners are together down on the bottom. And so you got a little bit of playroom there. So if you have a piece that's a little bit bigger like this one is, that's the piece you put on the bottom so that it will ease it in. So I'm going to start over here now and sew this down. Excuse me. That's a great little trick to know. Anytime you have some extra fabric on one side, if you put that extra fabric on the bottom, those presser foots draw more fabric in, so it will just ease that for you so that you don't have, so that you line up. Oh, and look at that, perfect. All right, so here's what we got, our perfect little lineup blocks, and you can see how they're going to go together this way and this way. Now mine are set out in a row of, I have 12 across by 13 down. So it just lines up really easily. But when you go to lay out your squares, one of the hardest things for me has always been balancing the color. You know, we're given this charm pack, somebody else designs it, puts it all together. It has pretty even smattering of lights and darks in it. And it just you just want to make sure that all those lights and darks are evenly distributed. So there's some things you can do for that. One of the things I do is I get up on a chair so I'm away from it, and then I squinch my eyes really tight like this. So I can just see little bits of light and color coming through, and I'm able to see if I have a lot of dark in one place or a lot of light. The other thing you can do is you can take a picture with your phone, and sometimes that helps. Years ago, we had the game Passwords, and I robbed the little piece of red cellophane out of the Passwords game, and I used to use that to look through because red makes everything gray. Well, the other day, I got these glasses from Jolene with So Red glasses. Oh my gosh, what a perfect idea. So I take a look at the quilt, the red lens makes everything go gray, and you can just tell right away where the lights and darks are, and it enables you to be able to lay out your quilt very easily without, without having a whole clump of darks or a whole clump of lights. You can just see right away where all the lights and darks are. So that's just a really good, helpful tip for laying them out. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Lattice Quilt block from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. So how do I look, boys? How about this? What about this? Oh, we can do a little slant.